Zoom Administration, an Introduction. In this lesson, we will cover the following: deployment, levels of service, and user roles. Zoom gives you 3 different methods to add users to your account. We will briefly discuss these methods here and then go into further detail throughout this course. The first method is the individual and import CSV method. With this method, you can easily add a single user, a handful of users, or more. You will supply Zoom with the email address, and Zoom will then send an email invitation to those users with a link they can click on to activate their Zoom account. This is the more common method among smaller deployments. For larger deployments, you can use either SSO or the Managed Domain option. For SSO, or Single Sign-On, if you use an SSO service like Active Directory, Okta, Centrify, you can use those existing credentials to add users to your Zoom account. Lastly, with Managed Domain, you can register a domain name or multiple domain names that you own so that anyone who registers for a Zoom account with an email address from that domain will be automatically added to your account. The first level of service is the basic level. This is the free level of service. With a basic license, you can host a meeting up to 50 participants, use breakout rooms, remote support, annotation, and more. However, with a basic license, there is one main limitation, and that is meeting duration. If you are hosting a one-on-one meeting, then that meeting will have no duration limit specified. Once it is a group meeting, so 3 or more total participants, then the meeting will be limited to a 40-minute duration. If you need to host a group meeting for longer than 40 minutes, you will need the Pro license. A basic user also only has access to local recordings and cannot record to the cloud. And although a basic user is assigned a personal meeting ID, or PMI, they cannot customize that ID. That can only be done by the Pro license. We'll talk more about these features later. The Pro level of service, which is the paid level of service, also allows you to host a meeting up to 50 participants, use breakout rooms, remote support, and more. But with the Pro license, regardless of the number of participants, there is no meeting duration limit specified. For example, with a Pro license, you can host a meeting with 45 participants for 4 hours. This would not be possible with the basic license. A Pro license can also take advantage of Zoom's cloud recording and can customize their personal meeting ID, or PMI. Again, we'll talk more about these features later. Both Basic and Pro users can host a meeting with up to 50 participants. However, if you need to increase that capacity, you can get the Large Meeting add-on for Pro users. This can increase your meeting capacity to 100, 200, 300, or 500 participants. A Zoom webinar allows you to broadcast a Zoom meeting to a wider audience, allowing up to 10,000 view-only attendees and up to 50 panelists. You can stream your webinar to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or other custom services. Although there are similarities between Zoom meetings and Zoom webinars, such as registration, chat, and polling, there are also some distinctions. Overall, what is the difference between a Zoom meeting and a Zoom webinar? Think of a Zoom meeting as a classroom or conference room experience. Everyone can get on camera, speak on audio, and share their content. This is a more interactive experience. With a Zoom webinar, you have your speaker and can have guest speakers, which we call panelists. The host and panelists can get on camera, speak on audio, and share their content. However, the attendees are in a listen and view only mode. Attendees cannot get on camera, speak on audio, or share their content. They can interact during the session via the Q&A panel or chat and can raise their hand virtually. Webinar offers a Q&A panel, allowing attendees to ask their questions, which you can then run a report on after the session. Zoom Webinar also offers the option to start in practice mode, where the host and panelists can be in the webinar before the attendees can join. This can be very helpful to finalize flow, scripts, content, and etc. We'll go into further detail later in the course. With Zoom, you can also connect into room systems. We have Zoom Rooms, which is our software solution to give you a cost-effective and easy-to-maintain video presence conference room. However, if you have H323 or SIP endpoints, you can also get those connected into your Zoom meetings using Room Connector or CRC ports. Within Zoom, you can choose to use just the system-defined roles, or you can create custom roles that will allow you to provide access to only certain options. We'll talk about custom roles later in this course. The system-defined roles are as follows. You have the owner, and the owner has access to everything. The owner is generally the person who signed up for the account, hence they are designated as the owner. You can only have one owner per account, but you can transfer ownership to a different user on your account. The admin has almost all the same access as the owner, but the main distinction is that an admin cannot change user roles. An admin can be either a basic or pro license user. Lastly, you have the member, which is your basic end user. They can control settings for their profile and meetings, but can't affect any changes account-wide.